We are, after all, a sports-mad country. Joining me is senior SABC reporter Velile Mbuli. And I'm going to state, as I said earlier, he is also 2012 sportsman of the sports journalist of the year. Hey, this guy's a show.
Hey, to the reigning South African sports journalist of the year.
Forget about that. As I mean, that intro, this tournament, Afcon, tomorrow, SABC, I know we're broadcasting it as far as local television is concerned. Take us through Afcon. Let's start there. How big and why should we really care as South Africans about Afcon? I mean, I was sitting there scratching my head saying, well, Bafana Bafana not there. Why do we care?
You know, this is the game of billions, and this is a sporting code that is followed by many on this continent. The football, in South Africa, we are fortunate to have rugby, cricket, boxing, also maybe following after football, but in most countries around the continent, football
it's gospel, basically.
You know, that's why you find that even when it comes to this tournament today, I've learned that a country like DRC, their training session was cancelled because they are boycotting training because of bonus issues. Where is that money coming from? It's coming from government.
Yeah.
It's different when it comes to Bafana Bafana. They don't rely a lot when it comes to government.
Sponsors.
Yes.
Let's come back to that itself. Over the past couple of days, there was questions whether Gabon will be ready to host Afcon 2017. Issues with, elections, issues about unrest, a couple of things, that came through from there. It looks like it's all systems go now. The political climate is since seized down, and that's a power of the game as far as that's concerned. Stadium are ready, everything is fine from last we checked?
From the time countries bid to host this tournament, even with the consideration, the reason Afcon is biannual tournament, where in fact they host it every 2 years, it's to make sure that there's infrastructure development in different countries. But now there's also a question, particularly when it comes to this country, Gabon, because Gabon, they hosted this tournament in 2012.
With Equatorial Guinea?
Together with Equatorial Guinea, yes. In fact, in Equatorial Guinea 2012 together, they come back again in 2015 was in Equatorial Guinea. It's now in Gabon. 2019, it's in Cameroon. That is the same region. The tournament is staying there. And apparently today and yesterday, there were even people in Gabon who were burning tickets, saying, you know what, there are a lot of things that they need in terms of services. Yes, service delivery issues there. And just as we've just spoken about the issue of the elections, I mean, there was also issues about elections there with the incumbent also, because it was very tight in terms of that. So there are all these issues, but you know what? The tournament is starting today, and there's also about two new venues, Franceville, which are also joining Libreville. Libreville, you'll recall it was the venue for the 2012 final between Zambia and Cote d'Ivoire.
Now here's the question. I mean, you've traveled the continent, in fact, the world over, covering football matches. Massive sporting codes with Afcon, Copa America, Euro, the World Cup. Again, I'm going to come back to this. The question of club versus country, we have it in South Africa. Now, in the instance of this, in Gabon, we're not featuring Bafana Bafana or South Africa, that is. Why is it that the PSL is not continuing back here at home? I wanted us to quickly breeze through that so that we get to the competition. Why do we not stop the league?
I know
already it's congested. Sundowns.
I know. This is a question that is popular on social media. Most importantly, where you look at that, even though South Africa is not qualified for the tournament, but when it comes to league representation in this tournament, South Africa, the PSL has got 13 players that will be playing there, and you then have the other country. Second is Egypt with 17 players, they've qualified. And then you've got Tunisia, I think it's 18 players. But now you also have France, the French Ligue 1. They've got about 57 players who are there. But also, you should understand that the South African Premier Soccer League is an African league. In its planning, together with its sponsors, this is a period where they've already demarcated that, you know what, during this period, because we've got an Afcon, and at the time they were also starting to plan for the season. They didn't know that Bafana won't qualify.
Anyway. Yeah.
So already this period has been planned for. And this is something that has been happening over years.
Let's quickly move on to the groups. Interesting matchups in as far as the draw or how it's going to pan out beginning tomorrow. Let's take a look at it. I'm sure there it is on our screens right now. There it is. Which of those groups you look at it right now for you is the most interesting one? I'm looking at the Zimbabwe group. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
It is very difficult. You know, I've been on radio from Metro and Radio 2000 from 6 p.m. tonight. We've been discussing this. It's very difficult to even pick a group of death there because you have Algeria in Group B, Senegal, Tunisia as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that is very tough.
Yeah.
You then have defending champions. Cote d'Ivoire in Group C, and they have their championship coach that won them the tournament, Hervé Renard with Morocco. You have DRC who finished third in 2015. They are there in Group C. In Group D, you have a replica of Group E in the World Cup qualifiers, Ghana, Egypt. You then have Uganda as well coming to the tournament for the first time in 39 years.
Yep.
So it is very difficult. And also Aubameyang as well is there in Group A with Cameroon.
Yep.
It's going to be very difficult. That's why it's difficult to pick which was the group of death.
I'm going to go back to the Zimbabwe group. I mean, you look at the Zimbabwe group, a lot of people saying the form that the Zimbabwean players playing the PSL right now puts them in good stead for that group. But I say, you know, it's not about the PSL, because when you get to international level, at competition level, it's a different kind of fish.
Hello, there's Algeria in that group.
Yeah.
There's Senegal in that group. There's Tunisia in that group. Yes, they've got 8 potent quality strikers.
Yeah.
But the problem, yes, they've got the striking force. Do they have the balance to match these teams? Having said that, upsets.
Yeah.
You've seen Iceland. Upsets is something that we associate with big tournaments like this.
Quickly, draw for Cameroon 2019 was made. I'm going to squeeze this in. I know that already. We've been told this one I needed to talk about. 2019 came up yesterday. South Africa in that group with Big Brother. That one is for me classic.
Well, one will,
let's take a look at it. There
one will go back to the campaign we had in 2014.
Yeah.
And that's when we took 4 points from Nigeria.
Yeah.
But if you look at the resurgence of this Nigerian team right now, it's a young team that is coming very well. And in fact, the absence of Nigeria and South Africa in this year's tournament is hitting CAF in the pocket, because when it comes to revenue, that is where they make most of their money.
Will we get out of this group? I mean, one could say it should be fairly easy. Nigeria, South Africa, go through. What does it look like?
In fact, in all these groups, only number 1 is guaranteed to go through, and then the 3 best runners-up. So South Africa here, they have to make sure at least they get about 13 points, so maybe they can be one of the best runners-up. But I think the other good thing is that the first game, there will only be 1 game played this year, and that will be in June. The first game is away in Nigeria. If we can get that way, get that game out of the way, and then Nigeria and Libya will cancel each other in a double header that will be in March.
I'm looking at Group I, Burkina Faso, Angola, Botswana. That for me is so unfair. I mean, I'd like to see one of those, Angola or Botswana, go through, because especially Botswana, you know, I've got the soft spot for them.
Unfortunately, you know, we only have 1 team from Southern Africa even now. And if you look at the makeup of these groups, it's going to be very difficult when it comes to representation for the region, even in 2019 in Cameroon. But I think when you look at Group K, Zambia has got a big chance to go through. Sorry, Group L, I don't see our neighbors Lesotho doing well there. I'm sorry, Group B, Morocco, Malawi, they have big problems. I'm looking at a situation where it will go back to South Africa and Zambia again. And also, if maybe things go well for Mozambique, if maybe they can finish as one of the best. What is happening in Group K is unfair to have 3 teams from one region.
From one region, that's why I want to go there. You know, Velile Mbuli, thank you very much for joining us on Sports in Prime. Always a pleasure having you here. Ish, Baba. Hey, Nigeria, man. Hey, I can't. Look, we're going to chat about that draw.
Hey, Oga. What can you say, Oga?
My brother. We're going to take a quick break right here on Sports in Prime. We're going to talk all things sports. In fact, a couple more minutes before we say goodbye to you. So stay with us. One more sports story.